So the ostensibly these chemicals are being used 6 billion pounds globally per year because of pest control. They're also being used on our children's parks and golf courses and all over the place. They're invisible, they're tasteless, and they are directly toxic to our cellular biology. So they're pesticides. Side is the word for the act of killing. So herbicides, insecticides, fungicides. And they are so toxic that 20% of all suicides globally are performed by drinking pesticides. And yet we're told by our government that they're totally safe. There's this one will shock you. But you look at, so, the largest merger ever done in Germany was Bayer-Monsanto, where Bayer, which is a pharmaceutical company, merged with Monsanto, which is an agrochemical company in the United States. If you look at what Bayer makes, they make cancer drugs for things like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And if you look at what Monsanto makes, which is Roundup, which is the most widely used pesticide in America, the cancer that it causes is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. They've paid out $11 billion in the past couple of years for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cases. So the companies are merging that are directly known to cause the disease with a medical company that has a treatment for the disease. Like, this is very, very dark. And like Calley said, it's kind of this revolving door between create the illness, treat the illness, and hide the science that tells us what's happening.
But this is all result of the food industry wanting food cheaper. And we spend per capita half as much on food as they do in Europe. But we spend 3 times more per capita on healthcare. So my big point to everyone is this is not the free market at work. This is food companies lobbying to have neurotoxins and endocrine disrupting chemicals on our food that are toxic, that aren't allowed on any other food in any other developed country, in order to make food a lot cheaper. And then to your point about, what do these chemicals do? It increases estrogen. And these kids are inhaling hormone disrupting chemicals. So
and now
the New York Times recently had a front page article that puberty rates, particularly among women in the United States, are plummeting. People are hitting puberty years earlier. Younger. Girls are hitting puberty.
Young?
The average girl in America is hitting puberty, which is sexual maturity, 6 years earlier than they were in 1900. We have the earliest puberty rates of any continent in the world. It's age 10 and 10 to 13. And this is in large part thought to do because of we are literally giving children estrogen with all the plastics we're ingesting, which are xenoestrogens, meaning they are exogenous artificial estrogens, and the pesticides, which can activate the estrogen receptors like atrazine. I mean, you can put atrazine, which is a pesticide that we spray about 70 million pounds of in the US every year. It's not legal in Europe, but it's sold to us from international countries.
It's not legal in Europe?
No, you cannot use it. And you put this on a developing male frog embryo and it turns into a female frog. That's how much of an endocrine disrupting chemical that it is. And so these chemicals are not inert. And again, because we can cherry pick science, and so much of these these papers are PR papers paid for by industry. The Monsanto papers was a huge thing that, revelation. They had to declassify these documents that Monsanto had basically ghostwritten scientific papers to say that these chemicals are safe.